Hey, what's up everyone? This is Aaron from Studio 3B. It's been a long time since our last video. You know, I've been watching the comments in my channel and I appreciate all the feedback. One video that I wanted to recap on in the latest update for our 2025 CDs and how to rip them. I've been getting a lot of questions like, is this going to get updated? You know, what do we do today? You know, there's a lot of advances in software and technology. So, you know, how would I go about ripping a CD today? So I have this CD right here, Vegas by Crystal Method. Came out in 1997 and it was a game changer for me when I first heard that album. So I'm going to rip that for you and I'm going to try several different methods to see which ones would work better for you in your library. So I'm going to try the default, which is Apple Music. That pops up right away when you insert it into your computer. This is assuming you have an Apple, of course. Windows would, of course, be different. But let's try it here. Keep in mind that I have Parallels installed on here, so have access to Windows. So I'm going to give you the Windows perspective as well. So we're going to start off with Apple. We're going to go to Windows, Microsoft. All right. All right. So first thing you do, you insert a CD into your CD-ROM. You of course need a CD-ROM for this to work. It doesn't have to be a CD writer. It just has to be able to read. So, of course, on an Apple Mac, Apple Music is the first thing that pops up when you insert a CD by default, unless you change your settings. So, it says, would you like to import the CD into your music library? So, Apple makes a lot of assumptions here. It makes an assumption that you're using Apple Music as your primary music source, and you absolutely want to just import that CD into your music library in your Apple library. So, whatever. So, let's just do what most people would do and just click yes. Okay, sorry about that. So the CD just got imported here into Apple Music. It just went song by song. I was having a little screen sharing issue there for a second. So yeah, it went song by song and it imported these songs off the CD. So let's just see what exactly it did. I don't even know where these songs went to. Apple probably does know. So let me go search it up. So if I go to Home and Music, Media, Music, the Crystal Method, Vegas. There we go. It's got M4A. That's Apple's proprietary encoding format. So I don't even know if this is lossless or not lossless. Let's see here. 15 megabytes. I think that is lossless because that's pretty darn large. So, for the first song, Trip Like I Do is 14 megabytes. Busy Child is 14.8, right? That seems like a lossless size. So, without doing a little research, it seems like it's usually Apple Lossless Encoder ALAC or M4A extension. So let's just hope and see that's what they did. It came in pretty quick. Again, my screen wasn't sharing at the time, but it came in like, I don't know, 5 minutes or less to import that CD. So there are some things to be concerned about with something that's imported that quickly, and that's error correction. So sometimes you have scratches on your CD, little imperfections in the CD surface, and what they have to do is slow down the CD reader to really get the bits off that CD properly. So sometimes if you just read the song so quickly off the CD, you might have some misinformation in there somewhere along the line. For the most part, your ears are not going to probably detect anything close to that, but you know, if you want like a bit perfect archive of your CD, you may want to go some other route besides just importing with Apple Music, although that is by far probably the simplest way to go if you are using Apple Music as your player and your library manager. So, all right, so we're going to go into what I originally did in my first video. Go to a software program called XLD. This is what I've always used on Apple. Just click download and it's got a bunch of ads and stuff. Great. It's good software. This is just what happens on SourceForge. So let's see here. Where's my download? There it is. Open that up. So just let's just drag this to applications. Drag that in there. All right. Let's run XLD. Could not verify. All right. So this is one of those security deals. Open anyway. So this is what happens when you install software on a Mac that isn't built by Apple. Sometimes they have that security concern there, but this is not spamware or anything. It's just a program built by developers. So go ahead and you can rip it as WAV or AIF. These are both lossless, but these are uncompressed. So these will be extremely large, hard to manage, and you'll probably end up having slowness trying to play them back because your computer may not be able to handle that size file. So, but they are usable file formats. If you have like a supercomputer and you want to handle large form files. What most people go with are Apple Lossless, which is fully integrated into the Apple ecosystem, or FLAC, which is also, I think it's more integrated nowadays into the Apple ecosystem, but it's also open source and usable on other operating systems, Windows, Linux, and etc. And it's pretty much like the universal standard for encoding lossless files. So, PCM files, that is, we're not talking about DSD and all that stuff. So you don't want to go to MP3 unless you really want to just take that on the go. Those are smaller files. They're lossy. And, not to get into a big educational thing about that, but basically they're going to take information out of the sound so that the file is smaller. In the information they take out, they say you can't hear it. But in fact, most people would probably say they can hear the difference. So don't go for MP3. Go for FLAC or Apple Lossless as my suggestion. Here it actually tells you where you're putting the files. So I'm going into my music folder. And really the big thing here is go to CD rip. We have 3 different algorithms, I would say, or ripper modes they call it. So XLD Secure Ripper is the default. That's probably the best one to go with. Burst mode is if you're in a rush, and that seems to be probably similar to maybe what Apple Music would do when they're importing burst mode. Like I said, it doesn't quite correct the errors in the bytes of information they're reading off the CD. So XLD Secure Ripper probably is more, you're going to take a little more time, but it's going to be more proper and more bit perfect. CD Paranoia, I think this was the better one for a while, a long time ago, but I think it kind of wears out your CD-ROM if you use it too much. I don't really go with CD Paranoia. It seems, I think it takes longer and it wears out your CD more, although it might be even more bit perfect. I don't know. But what my suggestion really is just go to the XLD Secure Ripper. So go ahead and do that. And just to open this particular CD, you open Audio CD Vegas. You just select the name of your CD there. Here it's going to do some initial analysis. All right. Of course, Apple Music is trying to do its thing again, so I'm going to say no. Here you just go extract. And here it prompts you to pick your directory. So I'm going to pick my music directory, wherever that is. Let's just do it right here for now. It seems to be going a little slower than Apple Music, but it will get the job done. All right, and if you want to let that go through the whole CD, you can. It takes about less than a minute for each song, so that's not really too bad. Those are just normal size songs. So I'm just going to cancel this guy. It does save a log file of the accuracy and all kinds of errors and stuff that it might have ran into, like if there's scratches on the CD. It keeps a log of that. It's pretty useful if you're scrupulous. And if you go back to your music directory, I'm actually going to drag a shortcut over here. There we go. Music. There we go. There's my one song that I ripped, and that is a FLAC file as I configured it. And let's see the size of that. That is 55 megabytes. Okay, so correction. So Apple Music seems to not have ripped losslessly by default. There may be some sort of setting in there to do lossless ripping. However, 55 megabytes is much larger, even though it's compressed, compared to the 15 megabytes that it ripped it. So from Apple Music. So that leads me to believe, as I said, okay, Apple Music does not rip by default lossless. It's compressed, lossy audio. It's got to be, because it's completely smaller than this FLAC file. So without doing any research, I have already figured out that if you want to rip lossless in Apple Music, you probably have to go into the menu and settings and change that up. And there may be an option there. I don't know. Let's go check. So if I go to music settings, I looked in here earlier and I didn't see it. Let me think here. Import settings. AAC encoder. Apple lossless encoder. So, all right. So if you want to use the Apple Music and you don't want to lose any audio information, Apple lossless encoder. Use error correction when reading audio CDs. This option to experience problems with audio quality from your CDs. This may reduce the speed of importing. So this is what I was talking about. So it looks like Apple has developed error correction in their importing software. And they've given you an option to import to these other formats. So this is more recent than my last video. They didn't have this before a while ago, so now they do. Let's go ahead and try that. Let's go ahead and import this CD again in Apple Music, and let's see how this behaves. I'm going to replace existing because I don't want that compressed audio, lossy compressed audio on my library. I'm just going to rip this using Apple lossless import. I'm going to close XLD. There might be some sort of conflict here. There we go. Okay, did the first song, Trip Like I Do. Let's go to take a look at that file. Media, music, Crystal Method, Vegas. This Trip Like I Do. If I get that file. All right, we're up to the full size, 55 megabytes. Good. So we've already ripped 3 songs. If I get the size of this next song, 55 megabytes. Or no, 50 megabytes. All right. Well, anyway, so yeah, Apple lossless is available now in Apple Music, and you can get error correction. So that's good. So I don't know how good that algorithm is compared to XLD. Maybe XLD is outdated and no longer needed. However, it's an option if you don't want to use their Apple interface, or maybe there's something better with XLD nowadays. Who knows? It's probably all good to just use Apple Music for now, as long as you like the way they organize your music. If you want to have more control over where the files are going during import, maybe XLD is a good solution for you. All right. So I'm going to cancel that import. I've already ripped this CD anyway a long time ago. So I'm going to cancel this, stop importing, close Apple Music. All right. Now for all your Windows users, I'm going to put the CD into Windows like that. And it says unable to connect. Okay. Let me see if I have the CD in my file. Vegas. There we go. Okay. So the CD is now in Windows. So let's go ahead. There's the solution that I've always relied on, and everyone says it's the best solution, and that's to go with Windows and use a program called EAC. It stands for Exact Audio Copy. I'm going to download that. Looks like it also... I got 2 pop-ups. I got 3 pop-ups. 3.5, 3.5. I'm going to close these other windows here. They're all the same. I don't know why it popped up so many windows. It's just taking a long time. What happens if I just click finish here? What will it do? Alright, it keeps opening up on this other window here, but it has this pop-up. Do you want to use 10 album lookups test version? I don't know. Sure. Setup wizard. So actually I'm still installing .NET stuff back here, but okay. So CD-ROM, virtual CD-ROM. Yes, because I'm using Parallels. It's virtual. I prefer to have accurate results, or my speed is important. Well, if you're using EAC, you probably want accurate results, because I don't know, maybe speed's important, but for me, accurate results. It says cannot find a CD in the drive to be tested. Make sure a CD is obtained. Okay. Why is there not a CD? Probably because I didn't put it in the parallels correctly. Let's see here. Do I still have Apple Music open? No. How do I get this in there? So, devices, CD, DVD, physical CD, DVD. Let's try this. All right. So there we go. Let's try this. Configure. The key disc cannot be used for offset detection. It does not match audio accurate RIP stored disk. Or your drive does not exist in accurate RIP. It has multiple pressings. Please try a different disk. I don't know. It's actually really complicated to use EAC if you really want to get a hold of it. There's a lot to know about it. What I usually do, though, is get CD information from remote CD provider. Oh, it's still stuck. Oh, there we go. Oh, and then you have to register for an account. That's not what I want to do. Again, EAC, extremely powerful software, a little complicated. Well, this is the best software to use to rip accurate, bit perfect FLAC files once you get it up and running. So this is frozen on me. This is still installing. Oh, status of downloading CD information. Problem with authentication settings. Yes, because I didn't enter any authentication information. So, I mean, one thing is you want to get the metadata, right? Oh, we can get it from CD player INI. This is like right on the CD. I think they tell you what the names of the songs are. I don't know. I don't know why it won't figure out what songs these are. Okay. So I need to, all right. So I need a free 10 disc trial. I don't want a trial of anything. Oh. All right. Well, let's just get the files off here, and you could just name them using Picard. Like I said in my last video, there's organizational software called Picard by Music Brains. Definitely the best way I know of on an Apple, at least, and I think it's open source on all operating systems to organize your music. But what you do is copy, select tracks, compressed. I think you need to set up in your options what you want to rip it as. So if you go to EAC options, extraction, here we go. Yeah, I don't know. What if I just press the compress? What will it do? Give me a folder. All right, let's put it in. Let's put it in my music folder. Okay. What's it ripping it as? A WAV file. Okay, so it starts off as a WAV file, and I think it compresses it to FLAC right afterwards. This has really good acknowledgement of error correction. So if there's any errors or scratches in your CD, this will start turning red. Stepping along here, as it shows you, it's fixing errors as it goes. It starts to slow down the rip if it runs into errors. It also, like XLD, it gives you an exact, like a log file of all the information that it kept track of while it was ripping. So let's see, it says copy OK. So it's done with the first track. Let's go to my music directory. And let's see what kind of file it's ripping it as. It's not named, it's just a WAV file. So it's not compressing this to FLAC. So let's hit cancel extraction. All right, and there's the log I was telling you about. I thought hitting copy select tracks compressed would compress the files. Compression options, here we go. External compression, here we go. Use external compression. Yes, we want to do FLAC. Where's the FLAC compression? All right, I just did a little research. Looks like you need to do a user-defined encoder if you want FLAC, and you have to download a FLAC program. So again, this is not an EAC tutorial. I just wanted to show you 3 options to use to rip your CDs. EAC is by far the more complicated solution. It is also probably the best solution if you really care about getting every single bit perfect on your CD into a file format. So go the research of looking up how to use EAC if that is the way you want to do it, if that's what you care about and that's your priority. Like say you want to archive your entire CD collection, I would learn how to use this program. This is what I would do. I have used it in the past, and there's quite a learning curve there to get it going. So definitely give this one a shot. If you want a further tutorial on EAC, leave a comment below. I will definitely get into it and learn it for you, give you a nice tutorial if that's what you so desire. In the meantime, if you have Apple, go with Apple Music or XLD. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe to this video. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them below. And we'll catch you in the next one.